Hello Math Magicians, and we're going to start Unit 3, and it's all about inequalities. So let's title our notes, Notes, Lesson 3.1. And the topic of today is writing and graphing. Writing and graphing inequalities. Writing and graphing inequalities. Alright, so in Units 1 and 2, we were focusing in on equations. They had equal signs. But in this unit, they're going to have inequality symbols. So let's talk about the different inequality symbols. There are 4 main inequality symbols, so we're going to make a chart split up into 4 parts. And we're going to talk about these symbols. So the first one looks like this. Second one like this. Third and fourth. So these are your 4 main inequality symbols. And we need to learn how to translate each one of them. So the first symbol can be translated with the words is less than. And you do need is, not just less than. You need to say is less than for this symbol. Is less than. So let's underline the word is because it's an important part of it. You can probably guess that the next symbol, since it's facing the opposite direction as the first one, instead of being is less than, is going to be is greater than. Is greater than. And again, very important that you include the word is. This third symbol is a combination. It is translated as is less than, or equal to. Is less than or equal to. And the last one, you would translate is greater than or equal to. Is greater than or equal to. All right, so those are the main translations. However, each one has a second translation. So the first symbol not only means is less than, it also means is fewer than. Is fewer than. The second one not only can be translated is greater than, you could also say is more than. And on all of these, is a critical part of it. You can't leave it out. The third one not only could be translated as is less than or equal to, it can also be translated as is at most. Is at most. So that's the most, the highest it could be. And the last one, instead of being is greater than or equal to, you could say is at least. Is at least. And guess what? Is important on all of them. All right, now the last two have actually 2 more translations. So this third one here, not only can you say is less than or equal to, is at most, you could also translate it as is no more than. Is no more than. So if it's not more than, it has to be less than or equal to. Is no more than. And you can probably guess this last one could be translated as is no less than. Okay, so these are kind of tricky, especially these last ones. So just leave your notes out when you're doing your homework, and you can look up what these translations mean. Alright, so there's your chart of translations. Okay, let's actually see some problems and try to give all of it some meaning. So part B, just going to show you some examples, and I'm certain you've seen these before. Maybe you've seen something like this. X is less than 2. Well, X is an unknown number, and you're looking for numbers less than 2, and there are a lot of numbers less than 2. And you can't really list them all, you can't really name them all, and so we graph them on a number line. Okay? So you make a number line, and try to equally space your marks on the number line. And this value here, you just kind of put in the middle of your number line. And you color all the numbers that are less than 2. Alright, so this goes, remember it counts up as you go to the right, and counts down as you go to the left. And the numbers that are less than 2 would be all of these numbers here. Okay, all of these are less than 2. All the way up, not quite, but not including 2. So you'd put a hollow circle around the 2, because 2 is not less than 2. But everything up to that point. And you shade them all and you put an arrow. And you're coloring all the numbers that are less than 2. And there's an infinite amount of them. And you put a hollow circle here because 2 can't go here. Is 2 less than 2? No. But all these other numbers, even like 1.5, 1.99, would fit there. And what you're coloring are the solutions. All right, here's another example. Maybe you have x is greater than or equal to 0. So we're looking for all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 0. Wow, there's a lot of them. So you make your number line. You equally space your marks. This number here goes basically in the middle. And you count up to the right and down to the left. And we're going to color or shade in all the values that are greater than or equal to 0. All the numbers that are bigger than 0 are all these over here. These are all numbers that are larger than 0. And it goes on forever, so you put an arrow. All of these are larger than 0. All of these, and then since it says or equal to, that means you're going to include 0, so you fill that in. Because 0 is equal to 0. So we're looking for numbers that are either larger than 0 or equal to 0. Okay, and what you're graphing are the solutions. Okay, so you are graphing or shading, you're graphing or shading in all of the solutions. Because you can't list them all, you would be working on it forever. You're graphing or shading all the solutions. And what are the solutions? Solutions are the values that make the inequality true. Values that make the inequality true. So whatever you color, whatever you shade, those values, if you plug whatever you shade, like 2, if you plug it back in here for x, it has to work. It has to be true. So let's try 2. Is 2 greater than or equal to 0? Yeah, 2 is greater than 0. It doesn't have to be both. It can't be greater than and equal. It's greater than or equal. Let's go up to this example. Let's try 0. If you put it here, is 0 less than 2? Yeah. Things you don't shade, like 5, won't work. Try 5. Is 5 less than 2? No. And here I didn't color in -3. Is -3 greater than or equal to 0? No. So if it's not colored, it doesn't work. If it is colored, it means it works. It makes it true. All right, one more thing. So part C, I am going to be picky that when you write an inequality, the variable is going to go on the left. All right? I want the variable on the left. Variable on the left. Okay, so that's going to be one of my requirements. So if you get something like this, 7 is greater than x, you need to switch that around. If you get 7 is greater than x, that's not how we're going to write it. We're going to switch it around, but you have to think a little bit. If 7 is greater than x, if 7 is bigger than x, then when you switch it around, x is less than 7. Right? Think about it. If 7 is bigger, then x is smaller. X is smaller than 7. So when you flip it, you flip everything. The symbol too. Right? Let's say you have 10 is less than x. Well, if 10 is smaller than x, if 10 is smaller, that means x is bigger. So when you flip it, x is greater than 10. You flip everything, including the symbol. All right, I hope this is helpful. Good luck.